Okay, go ahead and turn in your textbook to page 665, your lesson from yesterday, and grab your checking pen. We're going to go ahead and check your homework first. So grab those things. If you need to pause so that you're ready, go ahead and do that at this time. So let's take a look at these first couple of questions on page 665. Yesterday I told you that you needed to show me the work and the steps. So let's start with the first one. So the area here equals base times height. So the base of this figure is 1, 2, 3 units. And the height is perpendicular to it, so 1, 2, 3 units for the height. So the area here is going to be 9 units squared. Okay, you're going to get a point for the formula, a point for the substitution step, and a point for your answer with a label. If you're missing the label, remember it is minus a half. Number 2, formula is still the same. For the parallelogram, it's base times height. The base of the figure was 6 times the height, which was 4. So area is going to be 24 square millimeters. Okay, so 3 points for that one as well. Number 3, area equals base times height. Area equals the base, which happens to be here, which is 8, times the height, which is perpendicular, which is 9. So area should equal 72 square centimeters. So 3 points there again. Number 4, as long as this is somewhere where you can find it, area is still base times height, that's worth a point. Area is, actually in this case, we need to substitute for area, so it's 24 equals base times height. So 3, and the height was 3, so we're missing the base. So a point for this step. To get our variable alone, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And you could have that flipped around, 3b equals 24, that's fine as well. So b has to equal, b's would cancel, 24 divided by 3 would be 8, and it should just be feet because that's the length of the base. Okay, so 3 points for number 4 as well. If you need to pause at any point in time as we're checking, to check a problem or whatnot, feel free to do so. Okay, number 5, we have this car over here. Okay, so we're going to do area equals base times height again. Area is a base of 9 1/4 times a height of 18. Okay, so I have to change 9 1/4 to an improper, so that would be 37/4 times 18 over 1. I'm going to cross cancel and divide by 2. There's me 2 and 9. So I need to take 37 times 9, which is 63. That's 33. So I get 333 over 2. So if I divide that, 333 divided by 2 goes in once. I'm going to 13 6 times. That's 12. I'm going to 13 6 times again, which is 12, with 1 left over. So I get 166 and 1/2. So area equals 166.5 square feet. So 3 points there remaining for number 5. We're going to do a quick check of number 6. To find the height, you would have had to do some division. To find the base, some division, and to find the height again, some division. So you're dividing really these areas by whatever piece you were given. Okay, so the division with fractions that you're working on there. So go ahead and check these. It's 1 point each. So you get a point for 9 1/3, a point for 12 1/2, and a point for 14 3/4. If you put the labels on there, that's fine. They were up above, so I'm not going to count a point for those. So this one is worth 3 total points. Okay. The last question we did is question number 7. So in question 7, there were 2 ways you could approach this problem. Okay, one way, you could have figured out the area, okay? So you could have gone, I'm going to take 250, that base, times the 70 that they're projecting the height to be. If I take 25 times 7, I get 175. If I add those 2 zeros, it'd be 17,500. Well, 17,500 doesn't match up with the square feet of 20,000, so that would be one explanation. Or you could have done the area, 20,000, equals the 250h. If you divide those both by 250, you'll actually get that the height should have been 80. Well, it was 70 in the problem, so it won't work. So you're going to get 2 points for this. You get a point for saying no, and then a point for your explanation that backs it up. Okay, whatever method you used to solve that. Okay, go ahead and give yourself a score at the top of this page. So your score is going to be out of 20 total points. I want you to find your percentage also. Once you have scored your homework page, go ahead and turn it into either your first or your fifth period tray for class, and then pause the video when you do that, and then come back to your seat and grab your IMB. I'd like for you to fill out your IMB, the page from yesterday that we started on. So you should be continuing the notes on that page. A picture is attached in Google Classroom. I want you to go ahead and copy down those notes. So you're going to want to pause the video at this time to get this turned in and to complete that IMB page in your notes. Once you finish with that, go ahead and come back to the video with your textbook out. Okay, go ahead and do that at this time. Okay, now that you have your IMB page done and your homework completed, we're going to move on to talking about area of a triangle. So go ahead and turn in your textbook to page 674. We're going to skip straight to this page and skip the preview because we kind of did this a little bit in our IMB already and started this discussion. So you notice on page 674 that they're talking about this key concept of the area of a triangle. You'll notice that there are 2 formulas that we can use, just like we had in our IMB. We can use half of the base times the height, or we can use base times height divided by 2. And this is true because remember yesterday when we created that parallelogram, and then we cut it in half, okay, and we separated it. We know that to find the area of a parallelogram, we do base times height. So if I do the base times the height in this figure, I'm going to get the whole parallelogram. Well, with a triangle is really half of this parallelogram. So we have to do one of 2 things. If I want to find the area of just this triangle right here, I'm going to either have to do half of the base times the height, and I prefer that one because I can do a little more mental math, or we have to do the base times the height and then divide that whole thing by 2. We're going to get a little bit bigger numbers with this formula. I prefer to work with smaller numbers. It makes my math a little bit more efficient. So this is my preferred formula. But you can use either one and you'll still get the same answers, as long as you're mathematically precise. Okay, so they're talking about these congruent figures. We know that a parallelogram is then now made up of these 2 congruent. They have the same size, the same shape. We have 2 congruent triangles inside this parallelogram. We have it here, and then we have it here. So if we're just finding just this one, we have to take half of the area of a parallelogram, half the base times the height. So look at example number 1. Here we're finding the area of this triangle. So if we look at the base and trace it, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6 units, and the height is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So just like yesterday, I'm going to expect to see these steps. So area equals, I'm going to use half times the base times the height. If you use the other one, you'll have to show the division step. So I'm going to substitute. Half stays the same. My base is 6. My height is 4. You can use a dot if you prefer that. I like the parentheses to keep my things separate. In this problem, it's easiest to take half of the bigger number. So I'm going to take half of 6, which is 3, times 4, which is 12. So 12 units squared. We're talking area, so it should still be square units. Okay, and on your homework, I'll get a point for your formula, a point for the substitution step, and then a point for your final answer and your solution. Look on page 675 with me. This is an upside down triangle. It doesn't change how we go about solving it. So we still want to use our formula, half of the base times the height. Okay? Area equals half of the base. So if I look here, the base is this 12.1. And the height is 6.4. Now, because multiplication is commutative, I could take half of 12.1, but that's not very easy mental math for me to do. So instead of taking half of 12.1, I can actually take half of 6.4 because that's easier mental math. I know that half of 6 is 3 and half of 4 is 2. So I get 3.2 and I have 12.1. So I'm going to take 12.1 times 3.2. So I get 2, 4, 2, placeholder 3, 6, 3. Add those together. 2, 7, let's see, that's not 8, that would be, not 9, that would be 8, and 3. So if I have 2 spots behind the decimal, 1, 2, my area is going to equal 38 and 72/100 square meters. Okay, so the process is the same whether we have whole numbers, we have decimals, we have fractions, we're still going to go about it similarly. Okay? I want you to go ahead on these guided problems. I want you to take a moment, 3 steps that you're showing me on both of them. Go ahead and pause the video and complete letters A and B. Okay, let's check these. So we're going to do area equals half of the base times the height. Area equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So half of 6 times the height of 1, 2, 3. Well, this time it's a lot easier to take half of 6, so I'm going to do those two right away. So half of 6 is 3, times 3 gives me 9 square units because we have a graph here. Graph paper. Over here, area equals half of the base times the height. The base of this figure is my 9, the height is 7, so half of 9 times 7. I'm going to do half of 9 because I know that that's 4.5. So I'm going to need to take 4.5 times 7, gives me 35, 28 plus 3 is 31. Move that decimal over one spot. We get 31.5. Our label would then be feet squared. Okay, if you got those correct, you're feeling pretty comfortable and confident with this portion of the lesson, just finding the simple area of a triangle. I want you to continue to proceed forward with me to missing dimensions. If you're missing these questions or you need to go back and review because we need to fix up some thinking, go ahead and go back and watch me walk through some of these examples and make sure that you have a good understanding of how to find the area. Those of you that are ready, let's go ahead to missing dimensions. Much like we did yesterday, now they're going to give me the area and one of the dimensions and they want me to find the other one. So look at number 3. I'm going to use the half base height, okay? So that's an example if you want to use the other one. I think this one's easier. So I'm still going to use half base height. My area now is going to substitute in place of A. So this is becoming 24. I have the half is going to stay the same. It's always half of the base times the height. Well, the base is what's missing, but I have the height. So this is going to be my base, but my height is 6. Well, multiplication is commutative, so I could take half of 6, which gives me 3 times b. And I actually prefer to flip this around and write this as 3b equals 24. Either one is fine there. To solve that, right now they're connected through multiplication, so I need to do the inverse operation, which is division, to get my variable alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Those will cancel, leaving me with just 1b, which is just b. So b is going to equal 8, if I look back up there, centimeters. Not centimeters squared, because remember that b is the length of the base. So if I look up here at this problem, this is not going to be a square part because it's just the length of this side of my triangle is 8. Okay? Go ahead and proceed to the got it problems if you're making sense of that. If you need to watch it again, go ahead and do so. Try C and D, showing me the 3 steps that you're going to use to complete these. Pause the video and complete C and D. Let's take a look together at these. So area equals half of the base times the height. Area is 40 equals half. I don't know my base, but I know my height is 8. Well, half of 8 is 4. So 4b equals 40. You want to rewrite that as 4b equals 40 this way. I want my variable alone, so I have to divide both sides by 4. So b is going to equal 10 meters, not meters squared, because it's the length of a side. Letter D, again, area equals half base height because it's a triangle. My area is 72 equals half. This time I have the base, it's 12, but I'm missing the height. So half of 12 is 6, so 6h. I need to divide both sides by 6 to get my variable alone. Those will cancel, leaving me with h equals 12 yards. Not square yards, because again, it's the length of that side, the height of my triangle. If you're feeling comfortable and confident, let's move on to the story problem. If you need to go back and watch these 3 examples again to fix up your thinking, please do so that you're feeling comfortable and confident as we proceed. Take a look at question number 4. The front of a camping tent has the dimensions shown. How much material was used to make the front of the tent? So here's the front of the tent right here. You'll notice that the shape of the front of the tent is a triangle. So we're going to use half base height. The base is 5. So area is half of 5 times a height of 3. So we could go half of 5 is 2.5 and take 2.5 times 3. Or you could do 5 times 3 is 15, half of 15. Either way, you're going to get 7.5 or 7.5 square feet. And that one's area again, so we're back to square units. If you're feeling pretty comfortable and confident with this material, you're going to proceed forward to homework. If you feel that you need to go back and review something, please take the time to do so. You have plenty of time to be working today, so please do that. Homework for Monday. You're going to page 677. Okay, on questions 1 through 5, you need to show me the 3 steps. Okay, I'd still probably strongly suggest that past question 5, you're still doing that, but for sure questions 1 through 5, showing me the 3 steps. Okay, question 6, you're just answering the question. We're going to skip question 7, go to the back side. So 1 through 6 so far, and then you're going to do 8 and 9. So 1 through 6, 8 and 9 for Monday. Once you complete this, then you are going to be working on your wrap-up, which you can pick up from the set. Okay, so you'll have that. So working on your wrap-up. If you finish your wrap-up, you can turn it into the basket. If you don't finish it, don't take that one home over the weekend. You will get a little bit of time on Monday to be completing that. Okay? And then from there, you can move on. First period, you're moving on to your IXL skills that I emailed you. 5th period, I have emailed you your skills also and shared them as an assignment. Okay? So go ahead and work on finishing up this homework, and then moving on to wrap up, and then moving on to your IXL or BuzzMath. Okay? If you get finished, you should be in a good place. As always, have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Good job.